Hello and welcome to Between Sets. I'm Mike.
And I'm Fuzz. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm fucking knackered, I won't lie. I'm just knackered.
Yeah.
I've definitely taken on too much.
I know the feeling. How many projects would you say you're working on at any one time at the moment?
Well, obviously I'd take it in turn. I wouldn't try and juggle 3 things at once. I'm not a multitasker.
You wouldn't?
Multitasking apparently doesn't work.
Don't say this.
I don't know. I'd say at least 5 things going on right now in my life.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I actually need to count. One.
Your wife and stuff doesn't count?
No. I mean, I won't tell her that, but I'd say about 4 or 5 projects on the go at any one time, inclusive of this, obviously, which, it's just us having a chat, but there's some background stuff that goes into it, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, alcohol, which actually is lacking. I was expecting a cocktail this week again.
Yeah, no, I don't want to overdo it. I've had some comments. I don't want people thinking we're...
Mate, don't let people... Addicted. You know what I mean? Feel judged if you want, but don't let people determine the alcoholic that you are, okay? Do it on your own terms.
I mean, I've had some very... Has anyone spoken to you about any the podcast or anything so far?
I've got no friends, Mike. You know this.
Okay, fair.
Everyone's scared of talking to me.
I've had a few people.
I'm like a yeti.
I've actually had one comment. Shout out to Jess. I know she'll probably be listening, but really enjoys it. She's actually upset it's only once every 2 weeks.
Oh, really? That's what my wife says.
So I mean, that's got to be a win,
podcast.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've got a fan.
We have a fan. We have a listener. The one listener.
We've got one listener.
Or they're a watcher. We're getting some views on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Hence the mug. I've got my mug back out now.
I know, the plugs. As far as I'm aware, a listener via Spotify. But in case you are listening on Spotify, you can see our faces. We are on YouTube as well.
Yeah, if you really want to.
I suppose you know the YouTube handle off the top of your head.
It kind of ruins the... I don't know, it ruins the app. It just ruins it completely. You don't want to see my face. The voice doesn't match the face.
They want to try and match these the voices up, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the majority of people at this stage will kind of know us from the gym environment anyway. But yeah, how's gym been going for you?
Yeah, all right actually. This week was quite tough, so I'm challenging. So it's weird. I don't really recommend it, but I push myself by doing it like a month by month. So each month I have like a challenge where I have to hit all my rings on my watch, the Apple Watch, every single day for a month, and then the following month is just a bit more chill. I have a bit more rest days. I still have rest days this month, but it's more cardio rather than going to the gym every day. Sorry, it's more like on a Sunday I'll just get my exercise bike out. But no, it's good. I'm just a bit exhausted with that and everything else, and like waking up at 4:30 in the morning each morning is quite tough. So I just try and have at least a Sunday off. But my body will still fucking wake up because it's just a prick. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm up at a similar sort of time. That being said, I'm probably getting slightly more sleep than you because children being the way they are, I'd imagine.
No, it's not really that. My son we are so lucky. He sleeps 11 and a half, 12 hours a night, every night.
Jesus.
I think that's the only reason why I can gym it in the mornings is because even when I'm back at 7 a.m, he's still asleep. I have to wake him up like he's a teenager at 7:30 with the radio. So that's not an excuse. Nice. It's just putting him down. You have to have at least an hour to yourself. Otherwise, you just go insane and you lose all your hair. I've gone past that stage, as you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar kind of thing. I don't really mind. I'm kind of accustomed to waking up at 4:30. But that being said, I'm somewhat old man in the sense that I will go to bed I'll be asleep by 8:30, I would say, most days.
That is a bit lame, to be honest.
Yeah,
I've actually lost a little bit of respect for you there. I think we should just cancel the podcast. It's your bedtime soon anyway. We probably should end it.
Yeah, Friday night wild. Okay, so I mean, you aim to like complete the rings and stuff, but just so people are aware, obviously you're training 4 times a week as a minimum anyway.
Oh,
Um,
five, I'd say.
5, yeah, that's
Because
good.
you do,
And
yeah,
you're
yeah. Sorry, in my head I was just counting like I was fucking the vampire from Sesame Street. Then carry on.
one. So in terms of projects that we're currently working on, so I want to talk a little bit about one that has been going on for a few weeks, and that's sports massage. So this is kind of
Are
a
you plugging yourself now? Are you? That sounds a bit
yeah. I just want to talk a
erotic,
bit about
actually.
it 'cause it's kind of it's very different to PT in a weird sort of way. Um, it's similar in
More
the sense that it
physical,
needs your anatomy and physiology, but yeah, it's much more hands-on, obviously.
more
Um,
romantic.
but yeah, really, I honestly I didn't know how I was going to take to it because I don't know. I don't really see myself as a touchy-feely type person, but sports massage is kind of it's a little bit brutal, and I'm here for it. It's really good. I'm enjoying it. I've started doing some practice sessions on people. Um, it's going very smoothly. Starting to fix a lot of stuff, which I quite like. I think that's the carryover between the two. Actually, people have problems that they want fixed.
And you can fix them all. Are
No,
you? Are you like
certainly try.
Jim? Is it Jim? Jim will fix it.
Well, that's a question.
Are we,
I hope not.
are we gonna? Or are we just talking like muscle and bone pain?
I mean, I'll stick to muscle, not bone. I
No,
don't deal with bones, ligaments, or tendons. Nope, don't touch. Muscle only.
muscle
Um,
man.
if hopefully releasing and fixing some muscle starts to resolve some ligament and tendon issues, then all the better for it. For example, if you've got I don't know, a painful quadriceps tendon, for example, that may be because your quadriceps is overly tight. You may have some muscle knots in it. Relieving those muscle knots and tension then starts to release some tension on the tendons, and you kind of fix it that
Dude.
way. But
I'm trying to
no,
study personal
you
training
can't even
myself, and you're
you
just
can't even
throwing
say
these
you're not
long.
interested.
I know I am interested. That's the thing, right? I am interested.
Yeah,
I just can't remember. I can't remember names. I'm the worst at remembering names. Like we're in season 7 of that Modern Family, right?
yeah.
I don't know a fucking single name. I just refer to them as the larger gay guy, the skinnier ginger gay guy. Do you know what I mean? The old guy that's got the attractive wife, the new baby. Like I
You know
just
what?
don't know names at all. So when they're
I think
all these tests that I'm trying to do, like I understand the functionality and I could explain it in like a baby's terms, but when they're just throwing out these long names that I've not even heard of, I'm like, there's no way I'm remembering that.
you know what?
I'll
I
give it a
think
go.
weirdly, the fact that if you can explain the function of things, that actually serve you better when you're actually PTing people, training people, than having the
Yeah,
long names to because
but
people aren't really interested in what things are called.
people like having confidence that you know what you're talking about, even though they probably like never had. They could be making this up,
Yeah,
but
no, no,
you
to
have
be
to
fair, I
use
get
those,
that.
throw them in every now and again.
Little sprinklings of the science.
Science, bitch. But yeah, anyway,
What other
where did we
projects are you
even?
working on at the moment then?
We got. So I'm studying to be a PT. Obviously, I've got
Hmm.
my side business. If no one's aware, I'm also a counsellor, parish counsellor. Obviously, I've got a full time job as well. Trying to stay healthy, trying to stay fit. Got a child. This podcast. Well, I don't know. Probably other stuff that I've forgotten about. But yeah, side business is picking up quite a bit as well. So it all depends on that.
Good.
Like, do you know what I mean? If I've got 4 or 5 customers at one go, that's at easily 10 hours a week on top of my full time job, on top of this, on top of taking too much on. But next year I'm
And
gonna
for people that
yeah.
there's never too much. It's a case of scaling. You scale one thing up, the other thing scales back. But for people that don't know or haven't heard, what is your business? What do you do?
At the minute, I will continue this. It's a company called Fuzzy Logic. It's basically
Mhm.
just providing small businesses, really, that I focus on, with cheap IT services and business consultation when it comes to tech and digital sort of side of the business. So, for example, if you wanted to have everything on your website, including purchasing, including anything, basically, or if you wanted to introduce a tech when it comes to like rotors or people signing in and signing out or anything basically Because my life, the reason why I started a business is my life, and I think I've probably mentioned this before, my life is so heavily driven by tech. Like, I don't, and this is probably the reason why I don't remember things, is I literally just don't remember things. I put everything on my phone. It reminds me to wipe my ass. It reminds me to fucking feed myself. That's a bit too deep, but it doesn't. But it's other stuff like my washing and stuff like that. But I honestly would forget because I don't think, like, as in, like, I'm not stupid, but I would prefer not to have things constantly on my mind when I'm trying to spend time with my son or whether I'm trying to focus on a project, knowing that it will get done because my phone will remind me when it needs to get done in a
So
reasonable
maybe a
amount of
mission
time.
that
Do you know what I mean?
a mission for yourself then, you mentioned you study for a PT, would be to transfer your strong skill set, which is the use of tech. How can you utilize that to then, you know, improve your
It's just
knowledge in terms of
organised.
PT, not
My
necessarily
whole
knowledge,
life is
but
organised because of tech. So
mm,
it would just be organising, scheduling PT sessions. I do want my project next year would be to create an app for PT. So
mhm.
remove all of those third parties that are absolutely raking it in. I'm sure, and kind of create my
Yeah, for
own.
sure. And I
Not to make
probably have
money
things that
from,
I
but
could,
to just introduce myself with my clients. So it's more
mhm.
custom to them.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you've seen the app that I use. It's pretty decent. So it's Trainerized for anyone that hasn't used it before. It's pretty decent, but there are definitely things that I would improve, um, which I don't think would be overly difficult to implement. But obviously that would depend on the tech savvy
Yeah,
amongst you, not
I
me.
just hate
Um,
having limitations. I really do.
mm,
I prefer to introduce my own systems, my own processes, rather than
mhm,
like, and that's not just my ego. That's just like I just hate having to go through people to get what I want. That
mhm.
sounds so egotistic. I just fucking
No,
hate
no. I
people,
mean,
mate.
I think that's fair. Like we were discussing earlier in the week about, I mean, it could potentially be another, a future project, and it's a consultation company essentially. Essentially, what you're doing in terms of businesses and tech and things like this, but for startup businesses. I've worked in quite a few different industries at this stage for people that aren't aware. Um, but then I'm also starting to make
You
contacts
are
in other
slag, aren't you?
industries who are
A
kind
career
of,
slag.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. But they're all quite random as well. Um, but I think it gives kind of a relatively basic understanding of a lot of different industries. Um, but as a consultation company, if you've got a breadth of experience and also focused expertise in, like some of my contacts are construction experts, for example, you would be tech. I know people who are graphic designers and could implement that kind of thing. I don't know, just a future idea, I think.
Yeah, like those small businesses. That's the kind of the reason why kind of niched in that is because as much as they need to be frugal really because they're small. They need the support because it's a massive investment. Otherwise, it's basically the difference
Mm.
of this podcast has got really serious this week. But it is the difference of
Yeah.
breaking even in the first few months or breaking even over 2 3 years
Yep.
when you've got that support behind you. It's a bit like
Well,
life,
this is the
right? In that
thing.
sense, this is going to be even deeper. What
Mm.
people, I, I just I get really frustrated when people don't accept advice, and that's not me giving advice. That is just I just don't like it how people just don't go out their way to search for it because
Mhm.
we all have a very limited time on this planet, right? Let's just say the average lifespan is like I don't know 80 years, right? Let's just say we're all on this planet for 80 years. Why would you not try and gain more experience and get ahead of the game? So not only are your future years you can make wiser decisions, but also you're going to be you're going to be ahead of everyone because you're taking on
Mhm.
everyone else's advice, everyone else's experience, and you can like create a new path for yourself. Or do you know what I mean? It's just really frustrating. Every day,
And the
I
thing is,
try and invest at least an hour in just learning, no matter what
for
it
sure,
is.
I 100% agree with that. And it's funny, I was having this conversation just this afternoon with one of my clients. So he has a friend who's asking him advice about fitness. And again, I'll try and bring things back to fitness because it's the conversations I have on a daily basis. But he has a friend that is trying to do too much fitness wise. He's asking him for advice. What did you do to do this? It's like, well, this is what I did, but I don't know if it's right for you. Maybe you should speak to a PT. That's his advice to him because it cuts out. mistakes that I've made. It cuts out mistakes that other people have made. It's a shortcut, and that's the same thing as advice. So, for example, if I'm looking for advice on based on some another project I'm working at the moment, like planning permissions, whether that is construction work, whether that is change of use, whatever it happens to be, I know people I can talk to who have already gone through those mistakes, who have got decades more
Exactly.
experience than I have. That can just cut out
That's exactly
those
why
mistakes,
I'm
save
part
me
of the
money.
parish council. It's because all that training is offered to you. Like literally on Tuesday
Hmm.
next week, I've got planning training for 2 or 3 hours, just to learn about
Yeah,
how the whole
perfect.
thing works. Because, like, I'm sure I'm going to need it. Blah, 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 blah. Thing is, when you got me a cocktail, I had the excuse of getting my words jumbled up. No, I don't. But yeah, like you're going to use that at one point in your life. But also, it's nice to give advice, isn't it? It is
Hmm.
nice to be the one that has all that information, and that's another reason why I'm studying PT is because like I would love to know all about it. Sorry if you can hear my son crying in the background.
That's fine. I've got a cat jumping
That's
around
fine.
behind
I've
me
got a
somewhere. Can you see the
cat.
curtains twitching?
That's fine. Did you just did you just hear
No, I
yourself?
mean, at some point you'll see this cat climb up this curtain behind me. I promise you, it does
That's a lot
happen.
more entertaining than a child crying in the background. I'll
Oh,
tell you what, that's such a quick one as well. That's fine. I understand, children. I have a pussy.
it's fine. I've got a cat. Uh, oh, this will sound old man. Again, I'll get onto this, but the old man of me, we've got a dryer out at the moment with some clothes on it, which has just been washed, and the cat decided to try and climb it and tip it over.
But that's fine. At least she's not like pissed all over it. Things could be worse,
Not
Mike.
yet.
Is your cat an inside
Oh,
pisser? It's
God.
like marks her territory sort of thing.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they
You've
go
not been in your
outside,
house
but
long. How ruined are your stairs now? Or are they hardwood stairs?
no, I mean, there's carpet on them, but they're generally pretty good with furniture and things. They've got scratching posts every 5 feet or so, so there's not really an excuse for them, but they just like to climb.
I just don't
She loves to
understand
climb
cats. I won't
curtains,
lie. I'm really
anything.
not a cat person. I think we should
Nah, a
put
lot of people
a
aren't.
we should put a what is it called, like a poll up on Instagram. Dogs or
Mm.
cats?
I mean, dogs will win,
Dogs are going to
to be
win,
fair.
surely.
Yeah, they just will. Don't get me wrong, I love dogs, but I love animals in general, so it's not really a fair
Yeah, but
call.
cats
But yeah,
don't
people
even
will.
qualify, do they? I just don't understand how you can like how. Why are they even pets? They don't. I don't know, but
So,
do they show any affection
okay, so,
apart from to
well,
furniture?
yes. I mean, cats are geniuses. This is what people fail to understand, right? So, we domesticated dogs. Like, we went to wolves, we took them and go, right, you're quite good at guarding your pack, your family, you're good for hunting, you can sniff out animals. We're going to take some puppies, we're going to bring them up around us, and then dogs have arisen from that, essentially.
You're going to be
Cats are
really
the
good.
only
Whenever you're a dad, you're
species.
going to be really good at telling stories.
Really? I'll take that. But cats are the only species to have domesticated themselves, and it occurred around ancient Egypt because they were literally
Yeah.
worshipped as gods. One day they just decided they just wandered into civilization, and fairly recently in the grand scheme of like history, right? So this is why cats are slightly more feral. They've not, they've been domesticated more recently, but they
Now we're
basically
just
wandered
taking the
into
piss.
society and gone like, okay, well, I can live here rent free. You feed me, you look after me, I'm warm, I'm not getting eaten. Great. Cats are geniuses. They do what they want. They own
Yeah.
us. They spend more time in my house than I do, rent free,
The thing is,
and
you're
they
the
get fed.
fool for having one, then, aren't you? Really?
I know, I know, I know this. And
Is
yet,
your
here
wife
I
a
am.
cat person? I'm assuming that's what it is.
This is the weird thing as well. Before, she's only ever, well, she's had cats in the past, but she wasn't a massive fan. And yet, our cats, she worships the ground they walk on. And they love her as well, to be fair. I'm
But how
like
do you know
the
that? How do
spare
cats
butler.
show affection?
They'll, generally they'll sit on you more.
They'll just sit on you. They'll just be a hot water bottle for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, that's basically it. And it's seen as like it's like a little privilege when a cat comes and sits in your lap. Oh, I'm accepted.
Anyway, I'm going to move
Yeah,
on. Right. Do you know who got
enough
number
cat
one
talk.
this week? Music wise, on the charts.
You know I'm old. No.
The Beatles.
Oh, their new song. Okay, go on.
Yeah.
Have you
It
actually
goes
heard
back
it
to our
yet?
first episode. It
Mm.
was AI that, well, mostly AI that created obviously the voice of John Lennon.
Yeah. So I've heard a bit about this. Apparently, it's his voice, but it's like the microphone quality is really poor because it's just kind of in
Yeah,
the background, and they've used AI to kind of fill in the blanks, I
which is
suppose.
amazing, isn't it? Which is worrying for, I'm sure, a lot of singers and entertainers, but it's
But I heard a
amazing.
story that the reason this song was never released was because when he heard it, George Harrison basically said, "That's crap. It's not coming out."
Hmm.
And yet, weirdly, now it's released. When were the Beatles? Like 50 odd years ago at this point?
But it's a lot of
50?
songs nowadays. Imagine, like, I don't know, name a few songs that, if that came out like 50 years, 60, 70 years ago, whatever it was, like,
Mm,
it would have been like, what the fuck is this? MC Hammer Time, for
mm.
instance. Or, no, that's even older, but like,
Well,
there's sort of, name a
it's the same
recent
as like Beatles
song.
songs. Well, like Beatles songs, like if Yellow Submarine, as an example,
Yes.
came out today, that
Yeah.
would not do well.
Yeah,
The reason
yeah.
that
And
did
they'd
well was
probably
because
have to do a drug
everyone was
test
on
on the guy that
acid.
sang it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
It would be
I
on
don't know, maybe a
CBBS.
dubstep remix. And has there been a dubstep remix of Yellow Submarine?
No, but if
I feel like there
Louis
needs to
Theroux, imagine Louis Theroux's song like 70 years ago.
be.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
what a tune! But yeah,
The thing is,
I mean,
TikTok's like actually breaking people, as in like a lot of the charts now are because of TikTok.
mm,
Either because of
okay.
the like normally like already quite big singers, they're using their songs on videos, or a lot of people are breaking through and actually becoming pop artists because of TikTok, which is
Mm.
crazy, really. It just shows how many people are using TikTok. And yet, every time I go on fucking TikTok, I'd say every fifth swipe, they're trying to sell me 2 kilograms of fucking sweets. And I'm like, what is this? I'm on QVC. What is this? Do you get that?
Sweets, really?
Yeah.
No, not once.
I'm obviously their target audience, but every like fifth swipe, I'm like,
I get adverts from Specsavers.
oh, do you?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's really showing like my age. I think again, I'm not that
Yeah.
old, but clearly the
You must
internet
look at
thinks
when
I am.
people go to sleep and they think, well, this guy's obviously an old man. He needs to get his hearing done and his new glasses.
I mean, I think I'm. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm there. Like, oh, so last weekend, we were putting together some flat pack furniture, right? And we're
IKEA?
not talking about some of the, not IKEA. No, this is an Amazon order. So,
Oh, never
God, no, I don't know where
purchase.
it's.
Oh, God. The quality
This
of
this
that's
was
going to
my
be
exact
poor.
thought when it came through. But we started putting it together, and for whatever reason, as you're going through this instruction booklet, and this really wound me up. We're going through it, and basically, there's two panels which are, it turns out, interchangeable depending on how your room is set up, basically. But it puts it halfway through the book after you've already attached a load of stuff together. And this wound me up to no end, to the point where I started unscrewing things because we needed the panels around the other way, and then some screws popped out and part of the panel broke.
Because it's such poor quality, isn't it? Like, I do
It's,
swear, when it
oh,
comes to flat pack, you have to go IKEA. I don't think there's even an option. Like, I've tried Argos a few times, I've tried Amazon a few times. Like, it is
I
just
don't like
an
IKEA.
absolute shit show.
I so the furniture, fine, I can make my peace with it, but actually going to IKEA is like hell on earth.
It's only because we're
I know
quite
there's
far away from
meatballs,
one, aren't
I know
we?
there's food, but I hate IKEA. I hate it. There's
Once you're
nothing good
in,
about
you
it. I
can't get
don't need.
out, can you?
It's a one-way system, and you are if the judgmental looks you get if you go against that one-way system. Good lord.
Yeah, but that's quite funny, isn't it? If you're holding a
Yeah.
snake, it's fine, I reckon. Not a normal snake. You know those IKEA snakes. Sorry, you've probably not gone to IKEA enough. It's an
What the
iconic
heck
IKEA
are you
snake.
talking about?
An iconic IKEA snake. Am I going
What?
crazy? How many times have you been to IKEA? Maybe I'm just.
Like twice, and I hated it.
That's probably it then. I might
Yeah.
I'm at
An
IKEA on
iconic,
a monthly basis.
an iconic IKEA snake.
Yeah, they've been around for ages. You go into the toy section and straight away you see a massive snake.
Why is
Like,
there a toy
I
section
thought
in IKEA?
everyone owned one.
What?
Nah, I'm on acid. Anyway,
But genuinely, I don't know if I'm going to be the weird one here or if you are. I have no frame of reference actually.
I don't care. Thing is, I don't care about being judged, so I don't give a fuck. If I walk into the gym tomorrow and it's like, oh, it's the snake guy. It's like, that's me. Call me Britney Spears,
There's most
bitch.
problems.
Ugh.
in other news,
Anyway,
in other old man news, that could be a
yeah,
feature. I'm going to bring you old
old
man
man
news from now
news.
on. Old man
I could
news,
get like
yeah.
a
Um,
yeah. Anyway, carry on.
we found well, I say we. My wife typically does the shopping, but she found a new brand of a bin bag,
Do you go
and I'm
physical
really happy
shopping? Do
about it.
you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's old man as
I
well, isn't it?
prefer to do. I prefer to, yeah,
I feel like it's
yeah.
quite
It
modern
is a
now
bit.
to go online.
I prefer online personally, but yeah, found a
I
new brand of
swear
bin
by
bag.
Ocado. Ocado, if you want to sponsor us, feel free.
Any food company, to be perfectly honest with you, like I-
Just anything.
I'm a growing boy. Feed me.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. The bins are a big thing. And do you know what? Weirdly, after just rinsing Amazon and their furniture, I always get my bin bags from Amazon because they are so good, and
Really?
you get to
You
see the
like consume?
ratings and reviews. We
You
use
buy
so much
consumables from
money on
Amazon?
Subscribe and Save for like bin bags, for
Mm.
washing up stuff, for so much. But I'd say easily a few hundred quid a month because it's just so much cheaper. Like Pepsi, for instance,
Mm.
so much cheaper to get it
I
as,
remember
as a bulk.
you told me that story before. Like you had one case delivered which was a little bit damaged, and then they suddenly sent you like another two or three or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's even more perks. So it's even cheaper than anywhere. Plus, if it arrives damaged, you just get a free replacement. It's a win-win scenario.
Yeah,
Try it.
fair.
I don't get any
I might
commission from
just.
Amazon.
I might get a bit. I might get a bit. Do you really?
I don't. I don't get any commission. I don't.
No. I think I set up a what's the word for it? Where you get some percentage of the money, like commission essentially for having like a an affiliate link. That's it. I think I set that up a long time ago, actually.
Oh, what for Amazon?
Yeah.
There was a thing, yeah, ages ago. Like as long as they use the
How
link, 'cause
much?
a lot of companies do it, don't they?
How much money do you think I can make from sending out affiliate links for the best bin bags?
I don't
There
know,
are, I
mate.
promise you, there will be people out there right
Oh
now
yeah,
who
no,
have had
no,
their
no.
bin bags split in this past week, and they would appreciate good bin
Pe-
bags.
Probably, but people have full-time
I'm
jobs.
not sure our
Thousands.
audience are
I'd
thinking right
say
now.
thousands of people on this planet have full-time jobs, which are just sending out links, and they get a slight commission of it. And a lot of them, obviously, are like influencers. And that's how they make their money,
Yep,
which is
I'm going
crazy.
real niche with this one.
Just bin bags, mate.
Really niche.
I want to see you doing like a video advert for it. Are your bin bags
Guys, these are
breaking on a daily basis? I don't know why you sound
I
a
could
bit
go
like
with that.
Kermit then. Are your bin bags breaking? Yay!
Why has he gone Indian?
I did see, was he Indian then? There's an Indian frog from Sesame Street. Sorry about that. Slightly racist.
Oh god,
Taking the piss out of an animal and Indian. Sorry about that.
slightly racist accent as well. No, I could do the you know that time when American people had that slightly English accent still, sort of like the early 1920s, that sort of region.
You're
Are your
gonna.
bin bags letting you down?
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah, that could be the one.
you've practiced that
And then
before.
shave all this off and grow out the proper like handlebar mustache, and then
Are
away we
your
go.
bin bags letting you down? You need one of
Are you doing
these.
Movember?
Movember? What's the point of doing
Hmm.
Movember when I've already got this? And for people that are
Yeah, I
listening,
mean,
I stroke my long beard. That's not really a long beard. It's average.
yeah, I mean, mine's not. This is a lot shorter than it has been for me. Um, my worst, I'd say, the worst and longest beard I had was definitely during lockdown because, well, nobody really saw me, so I thought I'll just let this go, see what happens. Not a good look.
But how would
My
we
neck
achieve
disappeared.
Movember? Would we have to shave off the beard and keep the moustache?
I don't know. I think some people kind of shorten their beards right down to really highlight the contrast. But
I can't. I can't get rid of my beard. You've seen what I look like. My
I
bum
mean,
chin is the biggest thing you'll ever see.
it is a bit Buzz Lightyear.
It is proper to infinity and
Yeah.
beyond.
I mean, I'm all for the cause for Movember, but so many people do it and like in the view of kind of raising money, but
I'm already
you're just
doing
not
my
shaving.
push-ups, aren't I, for Teenage Cancer Trust? That's fucking tough enough.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. I had somebody earlier who was meant to be doing their push-ups, and I included a little circuit with 10 push-ups in there, and suddenly he was not loving life. Like, well, you're meant to be doing 100 a day. What's going on here?
Oh,
Caught him
really?
out. Hadn't been doing them. Hadn't been doing them.
Seriously?
Not good.
I'm
Yeah.
posting them on my socials every day.
I
If it's
see.
okay with you, I might stick him on the Between Sets Instagram just
Yeah,
to
do
get a
it.
bit more. But
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
I'm doing what I can. It's like what's weird is that at first it was getting tougher and tougher and tougher, but I'm at the stage now where I feel like it's getting easier and easier. Maybe I'm just
Yeah.
numb.
Conditioning
I'm
is
just
on the up.
numb everywhere. But I've got a bit of a hiccup this month on Sunday.
Go on.
I don't know how this started. I don't know where it even come from. Never really
Hmm.
heard of it, and I assumed it was at the time of where brunch actually is. But a bottomless brunch turns out really it's a linner because it's between lunch and dinner. Why don't we just call it an unlimited linner? Maybe I should
And it's
get my
also
own
really
little.
not about the food, it turns out.
Well, to be fair, I'm going. I've got unlimited pizza and unlimited alcohol, so it's a win-win. But I'm
Yeah, I
trying to
mean,
be good this month, which isn't the best timing.
typically, again, I'm not going to stereotype, but here comes a stereotype. Typically, bottomless brunches is mostly ladies that go to them,
Look,
and it's mostly not
don't
about
be
the food. It's mostly
sexist.
about the bottomless prosecco. I'm not. I'm just having seen
Sometimes you
these
got to
places.
let
Yeah,
yourself loose a little bit and get on your feminine
do me
side.
a favour. So when are you going to? Is that this Sunday?
That's Sunday, yeah.
Do me a favour. Just have a little scout about. See how many other men that you see there.
I'm
Call it
gonna
silent.
come
You
across
say
even more of a woman going around looking for men. So I'm sort of proud for some men. Are you a
no. I
man?
mean, I think it's going to be quite painfully noticeable. You say I'm stereotyping, so let's get scientific with it.
Well,
Let's
I'm going with another
research.
guy, not just me and another guy, because that would be a bit odd on a bottomless
That would
brunch.
be weird.
It's a couple's
Yeah.
sort of like double date situation. But
Okay.
I've never done one, and funnily enough, I'm kind of doing it for my birthday. But because I'm like a bottomless virgin, that sounds odd as well. I won't. To be fair, I am a bottomless
Oh
version
God.
in both ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
The
have you been to
okay.
one?
Be honest. Oh, I haven't. I haven't personally. No. Um,
You're missing out, mate. Well, later on Monday.
the double date that you're going on. Are these? Does your wife listen to this? Are they likely to listen to this?
I doubt it. I don't think anyone is, apart from this one woman. And, yeah,
Fine.
and proving my point, I
There's
just
one way
still
to
don't
find
know her
out.
name. I completely forgot the woman's name.
But so these people you
Amy?
go on the double
Is
date
it
with.
Amy?
Amy does listen. Yeah. No, it was Jess who I spoke
Jess.
to
See, I just
yesterday.
make shit
Day
up in my
before.
head.
Yeah.
Who's Amy
it's fine.
then?
One of my other clients.
You are a
But these
player.
people you're going on a double date with, um, would they be your choice of person to go out with in general?
Oh yeah, it was my idea. I know what you like. Yeah, it's
Okay.
'cause, there's actually something I want to talk to you about. Is like it is hard, isn't it? Because
Go on.
as men, like I think
Yep.
after you leave school, you have your school friends, but you slowly fade and maybe keep one or two, the ones that actually kind of like you get on with, not just hanging around
Yep.
just so you're not lonely. But then after that, it is all down to your wife, isn't it? Your wife's the one. It's her job. She leaves the cave to find other people, and then they're like,
people.
yeah. And then 99% of the
I don't know,
time, you say you've made friends, but actually you fucking hate them.
I don't know. I feel like I've found a route out. And for guys,
It's because you're an old
there's
man,
very
and you
I am-
just go.
no,
So I've got to
this-
go sell
this-
some
this
bin
is-
bags.
This is the contrast here. So, old man in spirit, young man in other aspects, in the terms of like, I'm a
Your
child,
dick.
basically.
Oh,
Well, you said that. You went there. But
Why is it
for men, I think so. Women can kind of bond over, I don't know, things that they like, but just generally talking, they're much better at that than what we are, in my opinion. Despite the fact we've got a podcast, men need activities. We need things to do. So
Yeah.
again, something I'm doing this week is going to play airsoft, as you know. So
yeah.
for,
Sorry about that. I let
again,
you down there.
people who aren't aware that what that is, imagine paintballing. I imagine most people know what that is, with tiny plastic pellets. Basically, it's a bunch
BB
of
guns.
middle-aged men going to a field to play with toy guns.
BB guns.
I'm
aren't
aware
they,
that makes me
basically?
sound like. Say it again.
BB guns. Is that a thing? Am I
BB
making that
guns,
up in my
yeah.
head? Yeah, BB guns.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not
But that's what
it's not the coolest of
you
activities.
have thing
But
is
it's
right.
great
Men
fun.
Men more likely have hobbies than women, though, I find. I keep saying to my
Yeah,
wife, you
I
need
would
to
agree.
find a hobby. I feel like your hobby is just rinsing into me. Like having a go at me because I've not done things like do the dishwasher. That's not a hobby, but it's definitely turning into
That's because
one.
you haven't done them because you've got hobbies.
Exactly. It's a circle
If
of
you had
life.
hobbies, they wouldn't know that you weren't doing things.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, actually, if she had hobbies, the whole house would be an absolute shithole. So maybe it's best. Maybe
Does she go,
her hobby should be doing the dishwasher. Let's just kill two birds with one stone here.
you really better hope she doesn't listen to this. That's one where you can test when you ask her, have you listened to the podcast? She go, yeah, 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 really good. No, no,
No, she
no,
wouldn't listen.
she's not
This isn't her
listening.
cup of tea. I don't think she even listens to podcasts really at all.
No, fair.
Yeah.
What would you say your preferred style of podcast are?
So I don't really listen to podcasts that much, but
No.
I've listened to two. And I think I've only listened to two ever since for the last
Hmm.
4 or 5 years, which are um, Mindset Mentor, which started about
Hmm.
5 or 6 years ago, and then
Yep.
when Parenting Hell started. Well, really, when I became a parent, I started listening to Parenting Hell with Rob Beckett and Josh Widdicombe, which is just absolutely
Hmm.
hilarious. But I think if you didn't have children, it just is a bit odd. But at least whenever
Fair.
you do have
No,
a
I mean, I
child,
can't
you'll
say.
have like a 4 or 5 years worth of archive to go through because it is just hilarious.
I need to find.
You don't have to be like up to date with it.
I need to find some cat podcasts. I think
Some cat podcasts.
that cat podcast. That's got to be a niche, right? That's got to be
What
out
the
there. I'm
fuck?
sure there will be.
The
There's
thing
cat
is, there is a
everything
dog
else.
one, and I tried to watch. I tried listening to it. It's John D and Sean Walsh. Is it? I think so.
Yeah.
But they talk
Okay.
about dogs. They get celebrities on, and they just talk about dogs. And I tried to give it a go because Rob Beckett was on it. And
Mm.
oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to bitch about the podcast, but like, I think after listening to that, I was thinking I could make a podcast. And I think this is how we come to this point. 'Cause
And
I'm
here
like,
we are.
how many listeners are there to this? They're just talking about dogs. They're talking about whether you have a voice for your dog. Yeah, like you do your own voice for them. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I need to be high to actually understand what's happening here. And a whole hour about talking about. To be fair, we've been talking about cats for quite a while, so kind of shit
Yeah.
myself in the foot there.
I mean, I've kind of recently got back into listening to some podcasts. Nothing really crazy, but podcast was originally the reason I actually ended up getting into training properly.
Oh
Weirdly,
yeah,
going back quite a few years at this point. So I can't imagine he'll ever hear this, but there's a fella called Jocko Willink, who I think I might have mentioned him before to you privately.
the
He's
way
an
you said
ex-Navy
that.
SEAL.
Privately in a cupboard, we were talking about this
Privately.
man.
Um, he's an ex-Navy SEAL, but he's a very motivational speaker as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
into. I
yeah,
love that sort of stuff.
he's just he's not big into fitness, but he's big into leadership and ownership. And one of his book, he's written one. Well, one of the books he's written is called Extreme Ownership. If you're big into your self development, I really recommend reading that. It's very very good book.
Oh god,
But
I've
it's
got a
about
long list
kind
of
of
books. I've got like 4 books in front of me that I haven't read yet.
yeah, but I mean, do you ever listen to some podcasts? I listened to one, and this was when I was driving up and down the country quite a lot. So I used to listen to quite a lot of podcasts. And some of his are 3 hours long, and he talks about history books. He talks about military history. He talks about
That's amazing.
leadership in general. Some stuff that he used to implement when he was working in the SEALs. He's a
Yeah, it's just a bit
black
full
belt
on,
in
isn't it? I
jiu-jitsu.
find
Just
like when
yeah,
it's
don't
not.
get me wrong. Some of the,
You got to have a balance of like comedy and like,
Mm.
do you know what I mean, knowledge and motivation and stuff. But when they have when
yeah,
there's like
I find
motivational
I've got to be in the
podcasts
right
out there,
mood.
it's just yeah, you have to. Even though like I force
Mm.
myself to be because I would yeah, it's nice to hear it, but it does bring you down
I mean, again,
sometimes.
yeah, some of the stuff he talks about, he again, this really would be going a bit deep. He talks about not shying away from the darkness. It's a bit American, I suppose, but all this horrible stuff that happens around the world, and people just don't like to talk about it because it is horrible. Whereas he kind of wants to talk about it so people understand it. Like,
Oh
I
really?
remember that there
Okay.
was one episode where he talks about genocides in Rwanda, where like a huge percentage of the population got massacred overnight with machetes. And the UN were involved, and it's crazy.
I
It's
understand this
crazy, crazy
perspective
dark.
because my perspective, like everyone's got a different perspective, obviously, but my perspective is like it's hard to stay positive when media is so negative. So I
Hmm.
do avoid the news. I think I've been like that for a few
Yeah.
years now. I'll just avoid the news almost entirely, and I kind of rely on social media to tell me stuff, or my wife,
Mm.
because I do get quite heavily. I used to get quite heavily invested in it, and it
Mm.
just brings you down, and it just kind of ruins your day. And that's such a
Yeah.
selfish aspect. I completely understand. It does sound very selfish, but also it's like
Yeah.
700 years ago, like our brains are trying to compute at 20 times the level than we were, like, let's just say a few hundred years ago, because they didn't
Mm.
have like news. Like all they really knew
No.
about was what was happening in their village. So there was nothing really happening up there. And now all of a sudden, we can't even be bored as humans. We
Mm.
avoid boredom at all costs. So and yet we've not really evolved. Like our brains and our bodies are exactly the same as they were a
Yep.
few years ago, 400 years ago.
Well,
It's
this
just
massive
crazy.
input as well. You could even relate it down to the last probably 70 years or so. Um, I'd
Mm,
say you could probably bring it down to when color television was first becoming a thing,
mm.
because in the days of black and white TV, it was, four, maybe five channels. But would you want to watch a black and white TV? I probably wouldn't. But
Yeah, you
back
got
in
to
the
just
day.
keep
But
up to date with
now
so much
suddenly you've got
nowadays.
yeah, suddenly you've got hundreds of channels. But it's not even about having channels on TV anymore. It's everything's on demand. Everything's on your
Yeah.
phone on demand.
Imagine what the
Everything's
pub
just.
quizzes were like 100 years ago. Imagine what sort of
Where would
questions
you
there
get your
were.
knowledge from?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, when did I
yeah.
last have a
I mean,
shit? That's
but
it,
yeah,
really,
I
isn't
mean,
it?
don't get me wrong. It's a bit of a contrast because I love having so much information available, but I think you really do have to screen and be careful what you are and aren't listening to, because there's a lot of nonsense out there. Um,
Yeah. I guess social media is a
yeah,
lot of
it comes,
nonsense. It's just all clickbait, isn't it? Really.
yeah, exactly that. And the problem is people don't screen it enough. They'll see something and immediately go, "This is true."
They
And
look at
you
the
you see it
headline,
occasionally. Like
yeah.
if you ever click on the comments on something, there was one earlier I saw where again, I have no idea why this was up on my feed or whatever else, but it was something along the lines of boy farmer's family died or whatever, and his farm gets put up for auction. And at the auction, all the other farmers remain absolutely silent, so he can buy it back for literally no money. And you go, oh, okay, that's really nice of these farmers. You go, the first comment on that was not true, proven to not be true. Well, straight away,
Yeah.
and there's
I
no reason
find
for that person to
Twitter's
be
full of
commenting
that
that.
now,
But
or X, whatever you call it. Like somebody will say a statement that's a
yeah,
celebrity or verified, and then like underneath it there'll
mhm,
be like in brackets like this didn't actually happen, this is false news, which is nice to like at least that's
yeah.
happening. But it's like, why
But
would you post
so,
it?
some
I
formats,
don't understand
some
it.
formats don't have that. So let's say a million people see one of these, you know, these these big personalities. A million people see that post and assume it to be true. Well, suddenly that false information is just out there,
Yeah, and that's how
and it can't be
it all
retracted.
starts. That's how media just end up
Yeah.
getting all like confused and half a
So
story all
to
the
so
time.
to kind of relate that back to fitness and PT, for example, and this is a prime example, and this is widely accepted in medical communities as well as PT communities. So, have you come across the acronym RICE before?
Yeah, we discussed this actually not so long ago. But
Yeah.
rice is what I live by
So,
because I was breaking
yep.
stuff. I was tearing stuff every month at school. So
Yeah.
rice is like,
So,
yeah, imprinted in my brain. Rest,
so the
ice,
acronym RICE,
compression, elevation.
boom, he knows it. So, for people who a lot of people would have probably heard that anyway. So, rest, ice, compression, elevation. If we go through those in terms of recovering from an injury, rest, absolutely, rest will heal most injuries in some form or another. Some are not going to
Even a
heal. Some
broken
need
heart.
surgery and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Even that. um,
So I'm just trying to
the next
lighten the
one,
mood up a
ice.
bit. We're getting all serious. Ice,
So the
ice,
next one,
baby.
ice, is the idea behind ice is to bring down initial swelling, but repeatedly icing the same injury is actually reducing inflammation. Now, inflammation is your body's way of actually healing an area. It's blood flowing to the area to flood the area with healing, what's going to like fix that injury essentially.
Mm,
Um, Compression, again, that's delaying the healing process. You're putting pressure on an area to stop blood flow to the area, and elevation, similar kind of thing, to remove inflammation from the area. Now, the doctor that introduced the acronym RICE, he actually retracted that acronym because he found it to be harmful and people were misusing it. RICE is dealing with an initial injury, whereas actually the medical community and I suppose it's been adopted by the PT community, use it as a long-term thing to help with injuries. So he retracted it a year later, but by that point, it's already out there. 20, 30 years later, I think it's around 20 years, it's still circulating now.
Yeah,
Even
I
if you
did
go
the
to your
first
doctor
aid
now and
course not
say,
so long ago, and they were doing it.
yep, yep. I mean, first aid, okay, I can make my peace with that. That's because it will reduce pain in the initial instance, and it will hopefully kickstart the healing process. But long term, no, you can't do it. Um, yeah, it's not the one. But
Yeah,
that's a good example of once something's out there, it's very hard to take back. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any real solution for it other than social media and, well, I mean, I would say TV as well, but there's no chance of vetting people on TV. You've only got to look at
yeah,
newspapers, and they can put anything on their front page. For example, um, like there's the whole Prince Harry thing. He took I think it was the Daily Mail or the Sun, one of the two, to court for printing false information about him, and he won that court case, and he won probably a fair chunk of money. But I guarantee they made more money from the newspapers they sold because of that headline, and they had to post an apology. Apology was like that. It wasn't a front page apology. It was like in the back pages somewhere. You know, no one would have read it.
do people still, and that is just me being such a millennial, but do people still actually read newspapers as newspapers? Like,
I don't know. I think
unless you're an old man like you.
do you know, I've hardly ever read newspapers. I think it's a generational thing, to be honest. But
Yeah,
for people that always have, I think it's almost a routine thing. You know,
yeah. It's like go on a Sunday to the, yeah, I know what you mean. My
yeah.
father-in-law does
Like,
that.
oh, my dad would have. He'd pick up the newspaper and read it with like breakfast, for example.
Do the
I do think it's a
crosswords or
generational
whatever.
thing.
Yeah.
I don't. That'd be interesting. Like, how much money are news
Compared to,
companies still
yeah,
making from? Yeah, they must have had
adverts
to
and
reduce in
stuff.
terms of just cost. I think.
Well, adverts like now are like people obviously make careers out of just adverts, like YouTubers and TikTokers. They're just literally
Mm.
that's how they make all the money.
Yep.
It's just because of adverts, which is mental. It's
Hmm.
just unreal, really.
Yep.
Think about it. Like the amount of money they're earning from other companies by just doing silly shit on the internet, like this, I guess.
Just have a large amount of
Like
views,
this.
and then yeah, yeah. And guys, you know, if you own a company that you want a product promoting, um, I know I talk about, you know, being a good person and making sure this bad information's out there. I can be bought. I promise you, I can be bought. If a food company wants to sponsor me, trust me, I'm good.
Yeah, we're easy, is what you're saying. I don't know about
I'm
food
not
though.
easy. I mean, oh, yeah, you get me food, I'm good. Like if there's a protein company out there that wants to just provide
This
me
is
like
this is
a lifetime supply of protein, I'm good. Like, yeah, hit me up.
this gets me on our next point, right? So, anyway, right,
Mm.
next time, or next. I don't know if we're doing one next week. We can do next one. Blah 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 blah. Ah, mate, just give me a cocktail so I have an excuse of losing my fucking words. But let's just slow it down. Next week we can do
Down.
one if you want to,
Mhm.
but
Yep.
the week after that, if we do end up doing one, we are going to have a guest, which is pretty exciting.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool.
But yeah, we were thinking about what questions to ask. I think we
Mhm.
should probably ask the questions to each other because I want to ask our guests the same question each time we have a guest. And
Sure.
I think the best one, from my aspect, would
Mhm.
be what their morning routines are and what their evening routines are. Because I find from my life that is quite an important standard to set when you are talking about, you know, developing yourself and getting a good career. Because it's the first thing you do when you wake up, right? And the last thing you do before you go to
Yeah.
sleep. So
Yeah,
that's going to
for
be my
sure.
question to you now, actually, is because you're talking about
Okay.
food and stuff, and I definitely eat a lot more than you, 100%. I'm a beast compared to you. Um,
I can eat. I promise you, I can eat.
Yeah,
People
we
really
probably could eat,
underestimate this, and
but you're obviously not
then they
eating.
see me eat, and I mean, I try to somewhat monitor what I eat. I would say I'm not
Oh yeah,
strict in
we
terms of
have to as
tracking every single
humans.
calorie, but yeah, I try not to. I try to eat relatively healthy as much as I can. I would say.
So what is your morning routine?
So
It doesn't have to just be food. But I mean, what do you do when you wake up?
mm, so morning routine for me. Alarm goes off at about 4:30. I will then. I do have a second alarm set for 5 minutes later. Um, so I wake up on the first alarm, but those 5 minutes, weirdly, is me checking for messages that I might have had from the night before for that first session if people have cancelled
Oh, you
or if the
shouldn't
one
be looking
before.
at your
So
phone first thing in the morning. But carry on.
no, you shouldn't. But if I can get an extra hour in bed, trust me, I'm taking it. And that's just the honest truth, basically. Taking every
Would
bit
you
of
say
sleep I
that you're
can.
not a morning person then?
No, I am a morning person. So I mean, you'll see me at 6 a.m. I'm wide awake. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, that first thing in the morning. If I don't need to get out of bed at 4:30 in the morning, then I can I'll check through my phone, see if I got any messages to say, oh, I'm not going to make it this morning for X reason, whatever it is. Um, I generally go through my calendar, just have a quick browse. The first 30 seconds or so. All right, this is what I've got going on. Cool, let's go. Out of bed, shower. Brush my teeth normally first. Shower. Come downstairs, feed the cats, make my food for the day. So if I've meal prepped, that will often just be in the fridge. That's a case of just taking food and putting it into bag. Um, and then have my breakfast. And then I'll normally have my breakfast watching TV. That will normally be YouTube, something relatively
So what time is it
light-hearted,
now at
but
this
more
point?
often than not,
What
there's
time is it now
something
at this point?
probably about 5 o'clock.
Oh wow.
So at this point, I've brushed my teeth, showered, dressed, and I'll 5 a.m. probably eating breakfast, and I'll find something on TV to watch. I say TV, it'll be YouTube. Something either light-hearted. It will sometimes be motivational, sometimes be fitness related. Yeah, mixture of stuff really. And that's about it. And then I'll generally head into work, and I'll arrive for my first session probably at 5 to 6. Start the day
Mm,
at 6 a.m.
wow. That's like a complete opposite of my morning routine. But what about you?
Go
What's
on.
your evening routine? Is it? Do you have a
Uh,
routine? A lot of evenings. I don't think routine really matters in the evening,
yeah,
personally. But
I mean, I do have some things that I do somewhat religiously based on timings. You'll learn this about me. I have timings based on certain,
so, what time of the day do
I'm
you
not
have
going
your
to say
shit then?
landmarks in the day, but
You got a
I
scheduled
tend to
shit.
time things back from, yeah, basically. So I actually go to sleep at varying times depending on what time I'm getting up the next day. But this is what I mean by landmark. So if I know if I have to get up at 4:30, generally I'm going to sleep about 8 hours before. So let's assume 8:30, right?
Mm.
And yes, this is proper old man territory, but got to be done. Um, so assuming I'm going to bed at that sort of time, um, I work backwards from there. So I know that at 7:30, I'm not drinking any more water from that point because I want my sleep to be good. Um, Generally, about an hour and a half before, that's where I'm actually taking my multivitamins supplements. There's
In the
one supplement
evenings.
there which is, yeah,
Oh.
yeah, typically. Um, Again, there was a little study I saw. Don't quote me. I can't remember what it is what exactly, but specifically for men, magnesium, calcium, zinc supplements. Um, you produce a lot of your hormones overnight, including like growth hormone things like that. So magnesium, calcium, zinc really important for hormone production, including testosterone. And I also take something called Montmorency cherry, which is it might be different in
Viagra.
America, but in the UK, no, if only in the UK we can't purchase melatonin. It can be prescribed, but you can't purchase it. So Montmorency cherry mimics melatonin
Oh yeah.
in a chemical way in your brain, essentially, to aid in sleep function. So in case you know, I again, Whoop sponsor me. So I track my sleep, I track my activity through the day, I track my recovery,
What is so you have to
and I
explain to
find
the listeners because they didn't know what you just did. What's a whoop?
I held up my Whoop watch. So Whoop
No,
is
what the fuck's a
a
whoop? No one knows what whoop is. Don't just assume.
you really should like Whoop is it's actually really good. I'm not sponsored to say this. I wish I was.
There's not even a screen
Um,
on it, is there?
No, no screen. So you monitor everything through your phone. It monitors your sleep, your recovery, and it gives you a score essentially, but you can delve deeper into that data essentially. So you can see what your resting heart rate is. It picks up your activities.
That's what Apple
So, for
Watch
example,
does, right?
today,
Or
I don't know. It seemed I don't know. I don't know how good an Apple Watch is, but
okay.
the detail that this tells me is really good. So, for example, the other Friday when we had our cocktail, I went to sleep. It told me the following day I had less light sleep than I need, and it suggested some reasons why. One of which was alcohol consumption.
Well, yeah. That's Apple Watches do the same thing, but I guess I'm assuming there's a massive price difference. How much is a Whoop?
This is it's on a subscription basis, and it's about £30 a month, I think.
£30 a
Um,
fucking month,
yeah,
just to tell you that
it's
you shouldn't
really
be an
detailed.
alcoholic. That's
It does actually.
ridiculous.
But it picks up a lot of data, and I think if you're just going to wear it and go, "Oh, I had 8 hours sleep last night or 7 hours sleep," then that's not that's not what it's about. It picks up heart rate,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
picks
oh
up
yeah, and all that lot.
HRV.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it sub splits those out. It tells you what your resting heart rate is, what your heart rate is getting to. It tells you what your stress score is. It tells you down to a level like if you want to perform better, what time you should be going to
How
sleep
often do you need to
and
charge it?
establishing better routines. Say it again.
How often do you need to charge it?
Probably once a week, and you basically keep it on all the time. And there's a little battery charger which just slides over the top
Does it
of
even
it.
tell you the time?
No,
Well, okay,
yeah, no, not at all.
we're very different people.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you not feel like you're a
It's
prisoner and
again.
like you got just a thing strapped on your wrist? Can't leave the house. Sorry.
I think you really have to be able to be willing to delve deeper into the data on it.
Yeah.
Basically,
So what do you
if you're
do?
not,
Like,
then
how have you taken action since paying £30 a month for a bit of plastic on your wrist?
okay. So I got Whoop, put it on my wrist, and it was telling me what percentages I was getting in each sleep zone. For example, it was also telling me how many hours plus minutes of sleep I was getting. My job is to increase the total time I'm getting. So I wanted to increase the amount of sleep I was getting by reducing the awake time essentially. So trying to push yourself more into deep and REM sleep essentially.
But how?
And there's things you can do. So
Have a wank before
reducing
bed?
blue light, for example. Well, maybe. So that's where I introduced certain supplements and timing those
Oh,
supplements as
okay.
well.
So you had
And
a
that's where
roof.
I've noticed that sleep score go way, way up in terms of efficiency. But it comes down to training as well because my training suffers when I'm not as rested.
Yeah,
Like there's a noticeable difference, really
yeah.
noticeable. Go on then. What's your morning routine?
Oh, I didn't ask you just to ask me, but
No, go
well,
on.
when I say it's
I'm
complete
interested.
opposite, it's literally opposite. So my alarm will be like 4:30, and I'll get out of bed.
Hmm.
Like I don't know what it is, but I'm like trained. I didn't go to the army, but I'm just trained. My body's just programmed. As soon as my watch vibrates on my wrist, or as soon as I hear the fucking bird noise, it's so annoying.
Wait,
If I
wait, wait, wait,
accidentally
wait.
leave my sorry,
Your watch has a vibrate function. You flash bastard.
what is an Apple Watch?
No vibrate function on this.
Doesn't even tell you the fucking time, mate. I wouldn't be surprised. It's just a bit of plastic. I'm pretty sure it's not. It's nothing there. Anyway,
Honestly, yeah.
I know,
I'll
I
show you the
know, I
inside
know.
bit.
I'm
Like,
just winding you up, mate. It's a Whoop.
there you
It's
go.
fucking
That's
yeah.
it.
Oh, it's got a green light, so it's special.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no. So yeah, so I bought the Apple Watch ever since it came out. I don't know how long it's been, but yeah, and then I just train. As soon as my wrist vibrates, I'm just up, and I have so much energy. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I'm assuming I've always been a morning person because of like my work. So I've always done like
Mm.
really early shifts for work. Back even when I was a teenager, I used to always wake up really early. It doesn't matter what time I went to bed. I remember being like quite an early teenager playing World of Warcraft till like 4 a.m. but still being up at 7 a.m. for school. Don't know what the hell it is,
Yeah, yeah.
but I was a proper nerd back then. But yeah, I have
We're going
so
to
much
circle
energy in
back
the
to that later,
morning.
I promise you.
Say again.
We're going to circle back to that in a later episode, I promise you.
World of Warcraft, mate. Those days were
Mhm.
amazing. No responsibilities.
Toilet!
But yeah, so I'd get up at 4:30, and my clothes would be next to the toilet. We're quite lucky because our children haven't grown up yet, or child hasn't grown up yet. We've got like a toilet each upstairs, so I unlock the toilet,
Mhm.
put my clothes there ready for the morning for the gym, whack my clothes on, use the toilet, and literally go downstairs straight off the bat. take all my multivitamins, all my supplements, and just leave, go to the gym. So within, I'd say, 20 minutes to maybe half an hour, I'm at the gym from waking up, and I just have so much energy. I think I've said this to you before. So if I go to the gym after breakfast, I normally have breakfast, I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I don't actually have breakfast. I don't have anything before I go to the gym, right? So I'll spend at least an hour and a half, 2 hours at the gym. I'll have my breakfast, which is basically just two protein shakes, and I've tried having breakfast and then going to the gym about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and there's just so much less performance, which is mental. I can't do as many sets or reps or anything.
No, I say I'd be the exact opposite of that. It's not that I can't train early in the morning, but in terms of strength, way down. I need food in me to operate fully, I think. It could be a
we have
purely
dinner.
psychological
We
thing,
have dinner
but
at 5:30. So it's not like I have a late dinner
yeah, it's
and I've
just
still got like stuff in me.
yeah.
Like it's really
It'd be
weird, isn't
interesting
it?
to see.
I think it's a
So you
superpower.
mentioned you take your supplements in the morning,
Yeah, it literally is
and you're at,
just. It's like it's just multivitamins, vitamin C, and
okay.
turmeric and stuff. It's just random shit. I don't take any. What's the word? Pre-workout. I don't use pre-workout.
No, okay.
I'm just
I do.
naturally very energetic in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
You
the
drink
morning
coffee
wood.
in general, though, don't you?
Carry on.
Do you drink much coffee though in general?
Throughout the day, I'd say I have 2 coffees, and I have been a little bit addicted to energy drinks again.
Okay.
I'd say for the last 4 months. Like when I was a teenager, I used to drink them religiously until then loads of bad shit happened in the news, and I just stopped drinking them. Probably for about 7 years, I stopped drinking them. But they released this Monster Energy with zero sugar. It tastes just like the normal Monster Energy, and it is just amazing. But I'll have that
Yeah.
around midday.
What flavors your preferred?
Just the original Monster Energy.
The original one. Okay.
Yeah. But now you get that sugar free, and it tastes just the same. So it's not like Diet Coke and Coke. It's not like the sugar free Red Bull is not nice. You're always going to get the normal Red Bull, and it's just
I
full of
couldn't tell
sugar.
you. I don't really like Red Bull anyway, to be honest.
I do like Red Bull,
Not a
but
fan. Yeah.
anyway, yeah, it's good. Anyway, but yeah, I'll have that about midday, just for that extra boost to keep me going, a bit more proactive for work related shit. But yeah, so I'll come back, I'll have breakfast, and then just literally have a shower and go to work. I don't have time in the mornings to watch TV like you do, mate.
I mean, I'm watching while eating. What else am I going to do while eating? You know.
That's another bad habit that I got into, and I think I'm still in the middle of it. I thought I got out of it, but I can't watch TV without munching on something. So I just don't watch TV. It's just a weird, like, as soon as I'm sat down on my sofa in my little spot and I'm like watching TV, all I can think about is munching on something. It's normally crisps, but I won't. I love like a fruit salad now, but still, I shouldn't really be eating fruit salad at 9 o'clock at night like a fucking weirdo. Like I'm
Yeah,
allowed
that's
to
what you're running
hibernate.
on in the morning.
That's probably it. Yeah.
I'd be interested to see if you were to incorporate some fruit pre-workout in the mornings, actually, because it
Just
absorbs
before
relatively
working
quickly.
out,
Yeah, I
I would
mean,
feel a bit bloated.
again, this is coming back to my timings because depending on the fruit, obviously, it's quite high in fructose. Absorption times are a lot lower compared to your starchy carbohydrates. So I'd be looking at maybe an hour before you train. If you were to have 2 pieces of fruit, you'll see a substantial increase in
Yeah,
your
but I just don't
performance,
have an hour. I just
especially if
don't
you
have
get a
an
little bit
hour
of
unless
salt in
I'm
there as
waking up
well.
at 4 a.m., which I really don't want to be waking up at 4 a.m.
No, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily get the full benefit, but even if you just smashed in 2 pieces of fruit, like before you left your house to go to the gym, you'll get some level of
I
benefit there, I'd
honestly
say.
don't understand. I don't know how I have more. Like I have so much energy in the morning, unless I'm taking
Yeah.
cocaine. I honestly
The
don't
thing
know
is,
how I'm going to boost my performance.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, this is it.
You
Like
know,
I'll come back from the gym right at 7 a.m. Ted will still be asleep, my son, and I'll have done the dishwasher. I'd have cleaned all the sides. I'd have got his breakfast ready. I'd have got my work stuff ready and my lunch is all ready before he'd even waken up within 20 minutes because I've just got so much energy. I'm like Tasmanian devil when as soon as I get back from the gym. Seriously. And just from me doing
a
all those
whirlwind.
tasks, that's what wakes him.
Yeah. Fair.
But then
Well,
in the
the thing is-
evenings, I'm just fucked. Like absolutely bollocks.
Yeah. Some people are just they will naturally come alive when it gets to the evenings.
Yeah, I
I
can't.
don't. I
I
think
can't
it
even
must
think
be.
about
It must
getting
be
up.
body clock
I'm
differences.
so lazy that sometimes the remote is on the other side table. All I do is just reach over to the other side of the sofa and get it. But I'm that lazy in the evenings. I'll just get my phone out my pocket and just see if I can connect my phone to the TV. Because I'm just such a lazy
Oh
bastard in
God.
the evenings. Which is
I mean,
I'm
fair.
like bipolar. In the mornings, I'm like, "Ah, get down. And in the evenings, I'm just so tired. I can't even
Yeah,
be
but I mean,
asked to do
you know,
accents.
one will be a result of the other. You know.
Yeah, I'm like yin and yang.
Yeah. I mean, I get the thing is, I get to about like 7:30 at night. I'm like, I could go to sleep right now. In all honesty, I'm done. And more often than not, it's not even relaxation time these days. It's checking personal emails, checking business emails, checking other business emails, looking at plans, looking at lists, looking at to-do lists, and it's never ending.
It
And
isn't.
somewhere
Yeah,
amongst all that, I'm meant to be studying as well. So,
this is it. Yeah, I'm. Yeah,
but
I'm more
I
of an
don't feel like I
email
can
checker.
stop.
I only really check my emails when I'm on the toilet. Well, that's kind of my excuse to my wife while I'm on the toilet for so long. But it's true.
TikTok.
No, no, no. Well, kind of, but it's almost like it's only if I've got no emails to go through.
Hmm.
Like I just don't have, I just don't really think about going through my emails. I don't really get my phone out much unless I'm on the toilet or
Mm.
if I'm like scheduling my procrastination. And even then, I don't when I'm procrastinating, I don't want to get my emails out. I want to just chill out for
Yeah.
5 minutes.
I mean, one thing I'm enjoying at the moment in terms of projects is some are starting to come to fruition. Like there's like a boot camp which will be starting up with me and Zara in the next couple of weeks.
Mm.
So the planning that's been going to that and the work behind that is now okay. We're there basically, you know. Um, so we'll have the media stuff behind
That's
that
the good
start
thing
to
about
come out
projects is
soon.
once they're like, yeah, once they're live, you can kind of just
Once it's
finally
live, it's
chill
rolling.
out.
It's other than like planning the classes, which you know I do on a daily basis anyway. That's not too much of a problem. It's then rolling. It's all the feed in stuff that goes along to it, talking to the right people, getting everything sorted. So
You
that
love it, though, don't you?
hopefully that's now. Yeah, I do. It's kind of piecing everything together. And then there's a larger project that's ongoing, which I'm not going to mention just yet, but
I
you know, we
know.
mentioned
Do
about
I?
guests and stuff like that. But yeah, you know,
You know, I know everything. I'm joking.
you know.
Um, but yeah,
Um,
that'd be good. That'd be good to.
I lined some other guests up. There's a client of mine at the moment who is, I mean, he's retired now, but have you heard of Agile?
I've heard of the adjective. Is it an adjective?
Similar sort of thing. It's like it's a business management scheme basically, where or like project management. It comes down to IT a lot. So I think you would enjoy talking to him about this because he was a field leading expert on this system essentially. So I want to talk to him about getting him onto the podcast as well. I think you get quite a lot of
Oh, nice.
out of it as well.
I
I
think
think
we'll
other
take it
people
in
will as well,
turns.
especially if
We'll
you're
take it in
working.
turns getting
Yeah,
guests.
I think it'll be fun.
So the next week
Yeah.
or the next podcast guest is a guy called Scott Rickson. He owns a small gym, very fast growing gym in Milton Keynes called the Mighty 100. The reason why it's called the Mighty
Nice.
100 is that his original niche was to try and incorporate a habit within 100 days, try and get people down to their almost target weight within 100 days so they can set that standard going through their life. It'll obviously be quite a sustainable thing. He's been a personal trainer for ages, since I've known him. I'd say 15, 20 years. But
Okay.
what kind of gave him this opportunity, and I'm just opening up IMDb now because I forgot her name because I'm not great at names, but what opened up this opportunity for him is he was offered a job being a personal trainer, a private personal trainer,
Mhm.
for the woman who played in Aladdin. What's her name?
A new one?
Yeah, the live action one. Let me just try and find.
Oh god.
Oh god, no. One second. I'm a very slow typer, obviously. He personal trained Naomi Scott. That's it. Naomi Scott. So he was, he was a personal trainer for her before she did Power Rangers. She was in Power Rangers the movie as well.
Okay.
And that's what kind of opened up like a new path for him, with obviously being able to have such a high platform trainee it just opened up loads of opportunities. And now he's obviously got his own gym. So he started obviously personal training in a small gym called DW Sports in Milton Keynes. But yeah, no, I'm quite intrigued. I'm quite looking forward to interviewing him. He's got quite a lot of stuff going through in his life as well. He's got a heart condition. We can hopefully talk about if he wants to open up about that. But yeah, it's going to be quite exciting. I just don't know how you can be a personal trainer and have so much limitations, especially with your heart and stuff. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
I mean, I suppose that would be part of it. Like, I'd like to ask him, well, specifically, what are those limitations? Because, again, if I have somebody coming to me with heart conditions, you've got something in personal training world called contraindications, same as like massage treatments or whatever it happens to be, where I cannot work with some people legally or morally, ethically, all this kind of stuff, where if they have X conditions, I can't work with them. I have to, ask the right questions and say, no, sorry, I can't work with you because of this, or I can refer them elsewhere to a specialist or so on and so forth. So I think putting myself in those shoes, if I had one of those conditions which meant a PT couldn't work with me, what would that mean for me having to train other people? It's interesting, I think that'd be quite.
And he was a personal trainer. He's not always had this heart condition. He was a personal trainer when he discovered it as well. So anyway, I won't ruin it more, but definitely looking forward to that. If you do have time to do one next week, let us know. We'll see what we can do. But I just want to set a precedent just yet. I don't know if we can sustainably do once a week just yet, but we'll see.
No.
Maybe we should put it out there. We could put a poll out there about cats and dogs and about whether we should do it on weekly.
I think we should base it based on the number of listeners/viewers we get.
Yeah. Tell you what, if we get 100 listeners or viewers before Friday, we'll do it.
Yep. So supply and demand. So if you are currently listening to this and you want a weekly podcast, share it, like it, whatever the lingo is, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, it's really important that you guys do subscribe as well on Spotify and YouTube, because that's the only thing that's going to help us grow. So that would be greatly appreciated if you could. But I completely understand if you don't. It's probably bullshit to you guys, but it's just two guys chatting. Really, it really is, isn't it? But I guess that's what a podcast is.
But we are basing this on supply and demand. We will supply more if you demand more, and that's based on numbers, unfortunately. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want to discuss before we end?
No, I think I'm good. But I'm interested to see what your interview skills are like for the next one. I'm interested.
Great. So now asking more pressure on me. You like judging me whilst I'm trying to run a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, not judging. I mean, I have quite a lot of interview experience, both in a number of different formats.
We're not offering him a job, Mike. We don't need another guy to speak to.
I don't even mean that. I might. I'll tell you what. We might go through some stuff and then see if you can.
Actually, going back because I've got my weekly questions for guests. What's your question going to be?
Mm-hmm. I sent you a question through, and I can't remember what it was.
Well, then obviously it wasn't a great question, Mike.
No, you're not wrong. Hold on. No, I think it was. If you could go back and make one change, or is there a point in your life where you would like to make a change? If you could go back and change something, would you?
In your life, or just like you've not like save Hitler? You mean
in your life specifically?
Okay.
It's something. Yeah.
Okay, then let's quickly ask yourself that question. Then you haven't got to repeat the question; you've already said it. So I'll ask you the question: what would you change?
Okay. Nothing.
Well, that is probably the worst question to ask. If the answer can be that short, please.
They can.
If it can, that's really entertaining for the listeners. Tell you what, nothing.
So interview technique then. So you got your TED question. So tell, explain, describe. So it's like, well, can you describe why you wouldn't change anything? So it's open ended. Okay.
Why?
And there you go. You've got your WH question. So why? So.
What? Who?
I wouldn't, because whatever decisions that I have made, good or bad, has led me to where I am currently. And I'm okay with where I am currently.
Yeah.
I don't hate who I am. I don't care if other people hate who I am.
Would you change your cat for a dog at any point in your life?
No.
Why?
No, don't get me wrong. My cats they can be arseholes at times, but they are. I do genuinely love them. They are lovely little creatures.
Okay, I do feel like I've rinsed and check out. I'll try. I think we should end the podcast until you think you're going to think I actually hate cats. And do you know what? I fucking do. Anyway, we'll move on. Right. Thanks for listening, guys. As I said, yeah, please subscribe if you can. Leave a review. Do what you can to share the podcast. It'll be greatly appreciated. I think the number one thing I would ask for is just to follow us on Instagram. Keep up to date when there are episodes available. And we'll just post some random shit on there as well. Just to entertain you even more. Are you not entertained?
Like, if you want once weekly, get the listeners.
Yeah. As soon as we can average 100 listeners a week. And then we're more likely to get adverts. And then we can get paid to go and make another episode. So it's on you guys.
We could get paid to eat. What
is wrong with you and food, you fuck? Oh, shit, I probably shouldn't use that word. I need to find a beat for that.
Yeah, but I told you, I love to eat. I love food.
Yeah, but you can't tell when you see you wouldn't say you love food, would you? You'd say you love going to the gym.
You know what? I mean, give me some time when I've actually got time to start training again. Yeah, you'll start to see.
Next year, right, we should swap lives for just a whole year to see. Do you know what I mean? You eat what I eat, and I'll eat what you eat, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll have no hair at the end of it.
We can at least do it for a week.
A week? You wouldn't even be able to fit it all in a week, mate. I'm just like, I don't really eat that much anymore, but I used to. I used to eat so much food. Right. That's why we feel like we're entering a new podcast already. Well, let's just say goodbye now.
We can edit it. We can lead into this one.
Lead into the next one. We could be up all night.
2 weeks.
Let's pull on all night doing a podcast like some sort of weird nerds.
Hold on, I'll get the Red Bull.
They didn't think you liked Red Bull.
I don't. Anyway.
Right, yeah, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you maybe next week. Maybe. It's on you guys. Maybe next week. If not, we'll see you with Scott Rickson the week before. Have a good week. Have a good couple of weeks. And see you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.